right, everybody, what is going on? What is good? What is happening? It is the MMG podcast. I am part of your co-host team, the Infinite. My good old man over here, the good old Dan Estrata, boy. Welcome, 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 co-host. Tell him what it's about. Give it to him.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Money Match Gaming Podcast, talk show, extravaganza, spectacular. We got it. You want it? We got it. We're here today to talk about Detective Pikachu, a new movie in theaters now. Yeah. But for everybody out there, happy Memorial Day. For those remembering, people in the service, good for you. And to thank you to all the people in the service who serviced. Thank you. Good stuff. Good stuff. We got the red, white, and blizzy. We're rolling in deep. We got the U.S. jersey on. Let's go.
This verse was like way longer than I thought it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I just kept going, man. Kept going. But anyway, what's up, guys? We're talking Detective Pikachu, and let's get into it. It's directed by Robert Letterman, and it's starring Ryan Reynolds, Justice Smith, and Catherine Newton. Do you want to give a little description of the movie, my man?
Sure. Detective Pikachu. In a world where people collect Pokemon to do battle, a boy comes across an intelligent talking Pikachu who seeks to be a detective. Boom. That's all they got.
Bing, bang, boom. That's basically what it is. So initial reactions. I don't remember who went first or last time, but go first.
It looked cool, and it most certainly is a part of the Pokemon franchise.
That's fair. I agree. It was part of the Pokemon franchise. I thought it. You kind of know what you're expecting going in, and you get it. Ryan Reynolds playing Pikachu and talking, being funny, being Pikachu, having a good time. This was a fun movie. It was fine. It was nothing crazy, nothing terrible. It was good. Yeah. So, without further ado, let's get into some pros and cons. So I'll start for this one. One pro I had is that I thought they did a great job using music and themes from the TV show and the games. For example, in one scene, you have a crying Ryan Reynolds Pikachu singing the theme song to the original Pokemon, which was fun. It was nice. At the end of the movie, you have the theme for the Pokemon video games playing over the credits. And actually, during the movie, there was a couple other times where they had music from the game series and the shows playing either in the background of scenes or like as part of the scenes, which I thought was really cool and like a good nod to the source material, essentially. Another thing I have is that the Pokemon looked really well. Like, they looked great. I thought they did a great job with the way the Pokemon looked. It made me want to live in Rhyme City and have all these Pokemon and at least have, like, a Pokemon friend that I can hang out with all the time, being like, what's up, Pokemon friend? He's just like, says his name or whatever, like Pokemon do. It was great. They all looked amazing. A lot of people like to complain that a lot of times in Pokemon, they focus too much on the 151, like the original 151 for, nostalgia purposes for the people who were into the series when they were kids and now are our age. But I thought they did a good job of having some non-151 Pokemons. Granted, all the main characters and such were 151, but there was a bunch of other things. You had some Greninjas thrown in there. You had the monkey dudes with the hands on their tail that I can't remember their names. He was wearing like an unknown shirt and stuff like that. There's a lot of reference to other generations of Pokemon. It wasn't just strictly we only have the first 151 here. You want anyone out? You gotta go somewhere else. Go to that other region. This region, only 151. But yeah. And I thought the twist... Oh, by the way, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, I am going to be talking kind of the end here. I thought the twist was good. And I don't mean necessarily the Ryan Reynolds was his dad the whole, or like Pikachu was his dad the whole time, like that. I actually kind of knew because this is all right. So this whole movie is based off the game Detective Pikachu, and I found that out when the game came out. So that knowledge just kind of carried over, and I was like, oh, the movie is pretty much the same exact thing. But I thought that like it was the father son team, and the entire time you think that the father's the good guy, the son's the bad guy. Turns out the other way around, and that the father's Pokemon, because like everybody in this town has like they have like they have their partner Pokemon. The father's Pokemon was Ditto. So then seeing all like the Ditto versions of like the people that Ditto was turning into, I thought was really funny because I'm a big Ditto guy. I think Ditto and like the derpy face when he changes into other Pokemon is just hilarious to me, like every time, without question. So yeah, I was a big fan of all that stuff. You had any pros you wanna throw in here?
I mean, it all revolves around a lot of the same things. I think they did a really good job of the aesthetics, the way things looked in this movie. You know,
Mm-hmm.
not only the Pokemon themselves, but just kind of like a lot of like the city building and stuff. It looked really,
Right.
really interesting. It looked very, very modern. And it was just like that part was really, really cool. And then, like you said, they at least showed a lot of the starters that they had in a lot of other video games, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's good. I wouldn't have minded either way if it was the original 151, but
Right. It's just that a lot of like pretty much anyone who grew up on any generation that wasn't the first generation is like over the nostalgia effect of the original 151, and they're not super into it. Being that I grew up in the generation of the first Pokemon, then I like the 151. However, I totally get people being like they put too much emphasis on that 151 and don't give like Gen 3 Pokemon or Gen 4 Pokemon the shine they deserve. And a lot of times I do agree with that. But
yeah,
you in this world, it was very clearly all the generation of Pokemon. The only ones that we didn't outright see were the Gen 8 ones because they just didn't exist at the time, and they still technically don't exist.
right. And so like that's about it, though. It's not that this was a bad movie, and like usually I say this, and it's like very endearing. This time it's a little neutral, but they did stay to the spirit of the franchise itself. And like,
Mhm.
you know, this time I was kind of like, well, I was kind of hoping for a little bit more. Like this is like your way to kind of open it up, but it is still a Nintendo franchise,
Yeah,
I
but
guess.
and to
And
be fair though, as far as like video game movies go, this is like probably upper echelon. Which is, I mean, granted, that sounds like high praise. There's been very few, if any, good video game movies. So I would put this one near the top of the list though. They did a good job with the characters. They didn't like, it's not like the Mario Brothers movie where Bowser was just a guy and Goombas were these giant things with tiny heads. Like clearly that movie was made by some dude who'd like didn't even know Mario. He was just like, this is a Goomba.
these are
These
the
guys are
characters, yeah.
Goombas. Yoshi's a crazy, disgusting looking dinosaur. Goombas, whatever. So I thought that like the people who made this movie at least sort of cared about the source material. So they did like you said, they did a good job building the world around that.
Yeah, but I was hoping for more. Like it like Detective Pikachu. Like if it was more of the whole Team Rocket, evil Pokemon versus good Pokemon, then I think the movie would have played a little bit better. And like I'm saying this because like I like the Pokemon games. I do. I do. I don't own a lot of them. I only played the original ones. I grew up then, but I'm not. Um,
Are you gonna get the new generation on the Switch?
yes, I will buy that one. The reason I didn't play them is because I
You
didn't
didn't have the
have.
handheld consoles.
Correct.
I mean, that's the same
Correct.
thing with me. Like, I played Gen 1 and 2, uh, didn't play 3 or 4 or 5, and came back with Y for 6.
I only went to yellow, and then after that, I just didn't have the hardware. I think the next couple of generations were still on the original Game Boy,
Yeah,
but I
so
think mine
Gold and
broke.
Silver was also on the Game Boy Pocket or Color or whatever.
Right. I think mine broke. Obviously, that was a long time ago, but I'm pretty sure mine broke. And then, I was never one of those kids that like asked their parents for a whole lot of stuff. it was just Christmas. Hey, give me the game consoles. They'd go, yes. And I'd always have all of them. We would always rent a bunch of games and stuff like that. And so it's like back then, I'm not sure if you could rent handheld games. Could you?
I don't think you could. And truthfully, I'm not much of a handheld gamer for the most part. I prefer to play games on TV. I don't know what it is. Like I had a Game Boy. I played Pokemon, and I'll still play all the Pokemon games on handheld if I have to. Except the new one's going to be on the Switch, which I'm very excited about. But I'm just it doesn't handheld games. I don't know why they just don't do a lot for me. I would prefer to play it on a TV.
Yeah, a lot of the handheld games, unless you're dealing with things like Pokemon, feel very indie-like in a negative way. Because,
especially if they're, like, games that are on actual consoles that they somehow ported. Like, because they did that a lot in, like, the 2000s, where it was, like, a AAA title, and then there's, like, and here's the Game Boy version, and it's very clearly, like, what is this? This is not even similar to what I played.
It's degraded. It's degraded for sure.
Super degraded.
So it was I liked
It's always so interesting to me that Nintendo was able to, like, convince these companies to be like, make a dumb version, please.
Please.
Okay.
But like, I enjoy the franchise. It's just like the show itself is like, I wouldn't even say they're for teenagers. Like, I really feel like these shows are definitely kids. Like 4 or 5-ish. And so
apparently the newest like the Sun and Moon show, I watched a few episodes. It's way better written. It's written way better, and like the animation is way better.
Oh, I don't think it's written poorly. I don't think any of them were written poorly. It's just
they don't hold up as well when you're an adult. A lot of the older episodes, like, I mean, some of it still does, like the nostalgia factor, but like, it's not. The characters are just all kind of dumb. They're a lot smarter in later episodes, and that's why, like, in the newest season, like, I guess it kind of makes sense. Ash is kind of just dumb, and he never wins. Like, he's never won the Pokemon Championship ever. But in one of the newer series, he actually, like, people thought he was gonna win finally. He didn't, though. He still didn't.
That's pretty lame.
Loser.
Yeah. So it's like one of those things that, like, it's just super aimed really, really towards, like, small kids. And like I said, this was for sure, true to its name, a Pokemon title through and through. Like, you can't really claim it for, like, anything else. And so, like, it's not a bad thing. And I went that long route to say it's not a bad thing. It was not for us. Like, and that's kind of like why I'm in this neutral state to go, it's not bad. But, like, it just wasn't very mature either. And it's like,
there was definitely a level of maturity with some of the things that Pikachu said. And I know that there's Ryan Reynolds, and the director has said that there's, like, enough cut content of, like, just Ryan Reynolds riffing where they could make an R-rated version of this movie, which I don't think they'll ever release.
No.
But the fact that they have that is pretty hilarious. And it makes sense. It's because it's just like if Deadpool was Pikachu. And I'm sure if they make another Deadpool movie, it will be referenced.
Which will be cool.
Yeah.
And that's kind of funny. But, like, I just wish it was a small shift towards a more adult, not necessarily even adult, but just more mature audience. Because, like, that shot wasn't anywhere above, like, I can't explain it any better than that. It's just, it wasn't meant for teenagers. This was meant for, like, the littlest of little kids. And, that's that. And it's not even done in, like, a Pixar / like, Disney type of way to where you can kind of super be entertained because there's some elements meant for you. Nah, this was just, like, straight.
I mean, I enjoyed it a lot. Like, I had a lot of fun watching this movie. I thought it was a fun time. Like, I don't know. Some of it's nostalgia glasses, but I think I don't know. I think it was made for Pokemon fans at heart, like people who have been through and with the series for a long time. I think they'll get a lot of enjoyment out of it.
Yeah. Like I said, it's true to the franchise, 100%. That's just all I can say, though.
Fair enough. Do you have any cons you want to say?
Sure. I've already said it, but just because it's on the line, it's not bad. It's just not my kind of movie. You know, like I was looking for something really, really more mature. And then the plot's a little funny to me. It didn't seem super malicious that this dude was merging humans and Pokemon, but I didn't understand why he was doing that. That didn't make any sense to me.
I didn't understand that either. He was just like, I'm doing it. I'm putting them together.
I'm fixing this problem, and you're like,
I'm doing it.
What problem? What problem? And why are you doing this?
I mean, it's just really the only person with the problem was him because he couldn't walk anymore and he wanted to be able to like move freely. But then he was just like, I'm going to make everyone the Pokemon.
It didn't make any sense. And I was like, I would just prefer.
My only idea was just maybe so everybody could understand each other. Because the people, when they became Pokemon, they could all understand it, and they can understand the other Pokemon, I'm sure, too. They just couldn't understand. I mean, they can understand people. It's just that people can't understand Pokemon for the most part. Except they're like, but you can sort of understand your partner to an extent. I don't know. I'm just trying to give it some sort of reason, but I don't think they really gave a good enough reason.
Nah, they didn't allude to it. They didn't talk about it. It's like you learn like the motives at the very end of the movie, and then he was like, "Yeah, like you weren't expecting this," and you're like, "Yeah, you're right.
You're right. I wasn't.
You're right. I didn't see this coming. There was no building towards this. This doesn't make any sense." The entire
time they're telling us Mewtwo is the bad guy. Turns out he's just a good guy.
Yeah, and it's like you're kind of sitting there, and you're kind of like, "Well, is there a reason? Is there a reason? Just." A tad bit, and it's like and he didn't even merge his body with his Pokemon. I'm like, it even confused me more. Like
that's fair. Who would purposely merge themselves with a Ditto? I love Ditto, but I wouldn't want to be a Ditto. I would love to have a Ditto and make him turn into people, and then give him beady eyes, and be like, that is what they'd look with beady eyes.
It didn't make any sense, and like. That's kind of all my cons, I would say. You know, it's just that plot.
Yeah, I kind of going off of that. I kind of have that the movie moved a little too fast. I felt like at parts, like everything just kept happening and happening. Like they would go from one thing, they'd be like, "Oh, here's a clue. We know exactly where to go." They'd go right there. Hey, I need to talk to this person. They'd talk to that person. They'd be like, "Oh, we got to go do this." Or like there was no. Like everything like just kept moving, which is fine, but it just sometimes it felt like they didn't really like stop and breathe. It was just constant like progression. And that's also why I feel like the end kind of feels like unexplained because they didn't, like I said, they didn't really take time to explain it. They were just like too busy being like, then we got to get to this. We got to get to that. We got to get to this. So that was a little meh. And, this is not really a con. This is just something I'm confused about. So, confused. They signed on for a sequel. Like, they've already started working on the sequel for this movie. And I don't know how they plan on doing that. At least not with this ending.
No, he's just going to be a detective. They don't really need to build on the story.
But I would rather, like, if they do... Part of what made the Detective Pikachu work is like the Pikachu talking. If it's just Ryan Reynolds and Justice Smith being detectives with a Pikachu friend, that doesn't work as well as the Justice Smith with a Pikachu that talks like Ryan Reynolds.
That is 100%. I like that response. I definitely somewhat agree, but.
Because it feels like at that point it feels like less of a Pokemon movie and more of just a detective movie, which is fine if that's the route they go in. Or they might go a completely different route and focus on different people or whatnot. I don't know.
Or they take the technology that they made to control Mew and then make neural links with Pokemon. Who
knows? I have no idea. Like They really did not leave this movie open for a sequel, so the fact that they're making one is beyond me.
Right, and that would be interesting to start hearing some of the Pokemon's reaction and stuff. And maybe him getting his Pokemon would be pretty interesting, because I was really hoping that would happen, that he would get his Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're kind of just sharing Pikachu now, it seems. Although I was a big fan of that Cubone scene at the beginning. It was kind of funny. He was super, super rude to that Cubone.
That was pretty funny.
I like the way you wear your mom's skull on your head. Like, come on, dude, you can't be saying that to a Cubone. That's not nice.
But that's about it, man. Like,
that's
really not much to say.
There is not much. It is. You go in, you get what you pay for, pretty much. Like, you're expecting a Pokemon movie, you get a Pokemon movie. Score?
Oh well. Yeah, actually, that was my closing too. That's like almost word for word. Really have any. If you're a fan of Pokemon, this is the movie for you. This is what I wrote down. I'm like, that's about it. That's about it.
Yeah. If you like Pokemon, watch it. If not, it probably won't do much for you. Yeah, you might think it's cute because the Pokemon definitely look cute as hell. Like that Bulbasaur, I wanted to go into the screen and just steal one of them. They looked adorable.
I think everything looked really.
I really
cool.
liked when they showed like the Squirtles on the news being firefighters, and then there's the one just like turned on his back. I don't know.
I never thought Squirtles were that goofy though.
Oh, dude, they're adorable, man. It's just because you grew up on the Squirtle Squad, and the Squirtle Squad was goofy. They all wear sunglasses. One wore Kamina glasses in the middle, and they just beat bullies and stuff. Hey, that's goofy.
They were organized, though. They were goofy for sure, but they were organized.
That's fair.
People played their parts, and you're like, oh, okay. I see this Squirtle Scott. I see what's up, man. But yeah. As far as the rating, I'll give it a 6. And if you don't know how my rating works, 5's dead center. It's average. This was not a bad movie. Like I said, it just wasn't a movie for me. I would want a more mature version. And by mature, I simply mean like not toddlers. I feel like this movie's aiming at toddlers. And
I don't know about all that. I
really close to that, man. Like just like kindergartners, maybe first or second grade. And then that was like the extent of the maturity level that they were shooting for.
I don't think so. I don't think it was that immature. I thought it was. I mean, like, I'm an adult and I enjoyed it, and I thought it was like.
Well, again, it's not terrible. It's just some more mature context. I think would improve the movie greatly. Like some more Team Rocket. Like, wouldn't Team Rocket just fit so perfect? You're solving the Team
Rocket's in Kanto region, man. All the teams have their own regions that they work for. This is a completely different thing. Also, it's based off the game, and I don't believe that there's any teams in the game. So,
I mean, it being based off the game is sure, but even still, like,
it's like there's a source material, and they tried to follow it as best they can, because usually people go off the source material, and then everybody gets mad that they went off the source material. Look at Sonic. They had to delay it so they can give him gloves and a nicer face.
And hopefully make him fat. Because...
Fat?
Dr. Eggman. Oh, you're talking about Sonic itself.
Sonic, the character. Yeah. I mean, I don't think they're going to do much with Eggman. I think it's pretty much just going to be a complete redo of the Sonic thing. They're going to have to reanimate that entire movie. Which is why they delayed it until February of next year.
Wow.
It was weird, though. When I saw this movie, they had a trailer for Sonic playing beforehand, and I was just like, oof, this is going to be different when it finally does come out. And also, there was, like, a group of, like, 12-year-olds, like, in the front row just booing it the whole time, and I thought they were just like, boo! You gotta go away!
All right, so what's your star rating, man?
I give it a 3.5 out of 5. So, I mean, that'd be like a 7, but my scale is a little different. I'm usually more lenient than Lance when it comes to it. But yeah, I mean, I gave it 1 point higher, I guess, technically, than him. But yeah, I liked it. It's a good movie. It's enjoyable. If you like Pokemon, see it. If you don't like Pokemon, maybe don't see it. It might not be for you. But yeah, it was fun. I liked it.
Okay, so I think we're already both in agreement. Next week will be John Wick, which I actually really enjoyed when I saw it. So, you know.
Oh, you saw it?
Yeah. I told you. I was like, I wanted to do John Wick over this, and then you were like, no, dude, Detective Pikachu, and I was like, okay.
Well, yeah. Well, no. I thought you had I thought you said like you could see John Wick, like you hadn't seen it already. Like if I had known you had already seen it, I would have just seen John Wick. Granted, I'm still gonna see John Wick, so it's not. Like,
oh yeah, I know. So you know, I've seen it. You know, I'm ready to go. You know, Fair enough. Next week will be nice and good and John Wicky. You know,
all right. Sounds good. And then the week after that, I mean, we'll already be like part of the way into it, but the coming soon in June.
Oh, you know what? Maybe we should do that first.
That's fine. I mean, I'm still gonna see John Wick, so I mean, we like whenever we decide to talk about it, I will have the knowledge of it.
Okay.
So next week is coming soon in June. Then that makes more sense, I guess, because it'll be the beginning of June. So get excited for that. We'll talk about all that stuff.
All right, and that'll do it for us. We'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.
Bye.